We shouldn't be surprised that we developed a fondness for movies because they effectively capture narrative, and stories can have great power. We watch movies to escape from our daily obligations, to feel excitement and intrigue, and to even rediscover our humanity by allowing them to touch our hearts. Welcome to Good Lucks, a channel dedicated to inspiring you to expand your mindset, make general life breakthroughs, and realize what your full potential is to see what life has to offer. The goal of this video is to introduce you to some must-watch, thought-provoking films that will push you intellectually and emotionally. We can develop personally through watching movies. They can nudge us to reflect on our lives, open our eyes to the world's limitless potential, and give us a sense of where society is going. There are many films out there that leave you with a lot to ponder, films that save souls and mindsets. Here are a few of the most empowering and impactful movies ever made. Let's get started. The Big Short. The Big Short, which is based on Michael Lewis's book of the same name, is not about the crisis itself. Instead, it focuses on what caused the catastrophe and how a few men were able to predict it. Numerous business-related insights are provided in the film. Let's examine some of those. Even a little leverage can cause significant harm. Leverage is a common strategy used by businesses in the financial sector to boost prospective profits. Even if it's a widespread practice, it isn't necessarily a wise one, especially when things go south in the markets. Additionally, it's occasionally bad for your money. Leveraged real estate and brokerage accounts can result in significant gains, but they can also result in significant losses. Leverages, in other words, emphasizes both gains and losses. Your financial situation is just as solid as its weakest link. Even though they might appear to have nothing in common, the economy is interconnected in every way. There are connections between the banking sector, the stock market, real estate, and the mortgage sector. This also applies to the state of your finances. Even though there were several warning signs, one of the most astounding features of The Big Short is how a few people would concede that the market was poised to implode. So be skeptical of too optimistic financial predictions. If you let facts drive your financial decisions, you'll probably come out ahead. Gluttony is bad. Additionally, it goes against the foundational ideas of prosperity economics. Avoid financial advisors who are too avaricious. Defend yourself. Risk-taking on the financial front can be immensely alluring. By diversifying your investments, picking safe possibilities to invest in, and saving money, you can minimize risk. Practice prosperity economics, in other words. The Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort complains at the beginning of The Wolf of Wall Street that he made $49 million the year he turned 26, because that was just $3 million short of $1 million a week. The film, which is based on a true event, also gave rise to protracted disputes in the US between Martin Scorsese, the filmmaker, and the group that represents more than 1,500 people who were scammed by Jordan Belfort. The portrayal of the victims in Belfort's frauds in the film is lacking. What can we take away from this outstanding film? Beware of small-time and no-name operators. It is best to avoid giving your money to an unauthorized broker or an independent consultant. They are serious experts among the tiniest businesses, just as they are bad apples even in the business with a long history. It is risky to rely on someone you do not know well or have no prior professional experience. Keep going beyond their references. If you want to work with an unknown broker or consultant, you need at the very least to be certain that you can trust the person handling your money. Solid and lucid information about the company is required. Doing some research is always a smart idea for making a decision. There is no middle ground when it comes to money. The oldest tactic in existence is flattery. It's probably true if something seems too good to be true. When someone gives you a method or terms that seem too good to be true, you should conduct twice as much research and ask twice as many questions. The Social Network. When it originally came out in theaters, there was a great boom and many debates. The protagonist of the story was a college student named Mark Zuckerberg, who was seeking social acceptance. This was the ideal opening for the rest of the story, which is currently very current. Regardless of your viewpoint, we have to admit that the film, The Social Network, had some valuable lessons to impart that eventually elevate the intellect. Success relies on a lot of persistence. While many people were involved in the early development of Facebook, only Mark Zuckerberg persisted through to the finish. We can easily conclude that his extraordinary devotion and relentless determination were crucial factors in his enormous achievement. Today, Facebook owns several enormous businesses like WhatsApp and Instagram. If you want your ambitions to come true, you must be tenacious and put in a lot of effort. Mark Zuckerberg is only one in a long list of people who have succeeded through unwavering determination. Confidence is an effective tool. However, this has been a major factor in his extraordinary success. Numerous partners of Mark Zuckerberg have given up after hearing numerous criticisms of his plans. The last and most crucial point is that success requires a lot of time and work. There isn't a quick method to become wealthy unless you want to turn to crime. Even then, it takes time. The original co-founder of the company, Eduardo Saverin, taught us this lesson. Jobs. Being an entrepreneur is challenging, especially if you live at a time when your target market does not yet exist. The initial insane notion gave rise to Apple. Consider Henry Ford advising people to buy cars when they had no idea what a car was. This is the tale of Apple, a personal computer designed for regular people who had no idea what they would do with one. In this movie on Steve Jobs' life, many topics will offer you, as an entrepreneur, a lot to consider. For Jobs, the focus was always on the product and how fantastic it could be or had to be, not the people who would use it or buy it. Jobs was fixated on creating the ideal product, which would eventually grow to an extension of its customers. He considered the people last and the product first. Steve Jobs sobbed a little after being fired from Apple. Then he founded Next, which he later sold to Apple. The business decided it wanted Jobs back at that point because the stock markets were suffering. They prompted him to sell 1 million or so of his Apple shares, which led to the stock price reaching an all-time low. He agreed when they asked him to become CEO, fired the people who had previously deposed him, and started to rebuild his business. It's a risky move to upset the marketing in that way, but if you have a plan, you can make it work by making sacrifices. Everyone loves the talker, so always keep the genius in the back room. This does not end well for you, and I'm not going to stick around to see if it happens, says Wozniak to Jobs in what is arguably the most moving scene in the film between the two co-founders. Jobs was terminated shortly thereafter. Become an expert negotiator. Someone tries to help Jobs out by investing in his startup, which has little money and could fail at any time, but Jobs outbids them. Jobs is constantly playing the cunning businessman. Yes, he wanted to create the ideal product, but he also wanted investors to provide him unlimited funding. Inception. Another thought-provoking film, Inception stars Leonardo DiCaprio as the lead character. Cobb is a professional thief who is employed to pry information out of people's heads. To prevent his empire from being endangered, Saito, a very successful businessman, has now recruited him to do the exact opposite, plant a thought in someone else's head. The film demonstrates how Cobb rallies his team, develops a strategy, and carries it through. He deals with his subconscious concerns while he attempts to influence the subconsciousness of others. What do you think after watching this movie? How does it make you feel better about yourself? Every aspect of existence begins as an idea. When we reflect on our aspirations, we realize that they all had to begin as concepts in our thoughts. Nothing in the physical universe can exist without ever having been made mentally. Our subconscious mind is a vast repository of knowledge. Discover how to use it. We observe a little portion of the mind's limitless capabilities in Inception. In essence, this means that as long as we put our hearts and minds to it, nothing is impossible. We can all employ the limitless resources of our subconsciousness to do anything we set our minds to. Avoidance, or more simply, don't bury unsolved issues, is not the solution. Cobb made an effort to bury his remorse and biggest regrets in his subconscious. Avoidance is never a good approach. Dealing with our problems head-on is the best course of action. That is what it means to lead a liberated life. For those of you who are still watching, we'd like to give you an extra movie for your perseverance. Parasite. Give yourself a treat and watch Parasite as soon as possible if you haven't already. The Korean comedy thriller won 5 awards, including Best Picture, and was a 5-time Oscar nominee. This movie raises important questions regarding the widening wealth disparity that exists globally, not only in America and not just based on money. Even the poor can be greedy, particularly when the privileged become credulous. They use devious tactics to get the chauffeur and live-in housekeeper fired so that their parents could take their places, taking advantage of Mrs. Park's gullibility. Although it might be on a larger scale, greed is not exclusive to the wealthy. Avoid debt at all costs. Debts that are not paid off can likely compound, making you poorer every day until they crush all of your hopes and dreams, similar to unpaid investments. Respect underprivileged people. By treating the needy with respect, we can assist them. The impoverished are stripped of their dignity and are made to believe that they should be appreciative of your assistance. Even if you have everything in the world, such as the title of CEO of the Year, if you don't treat people with respect, karma will eventually catch up to you. Please leave any further questions or comments in the comments area. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe buttons so that the channel can inspire more viewers. Enable the notification bell as well to make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We'll see you next time.